Dear President of the State of Israel, my dear friend Shimon Peres, the President of the World Jewish Congress, Mr. Lauder, the leaders of the Jewish community around the world, congratulations, Mr. Duncan, and your deserved award. You know, let me make this very short because you have come for dinner. And President Peres have said that this is a country with no food, no water. Well, you at least have some water on the table. But this country is rich in food. Shakshuka, Hatzilim, Barbunya. And now you produce an incredible Chardonnay white wine, Gambler. Now I understand a little bit better why you people call yourself the chosen people. I have shared this with my friends from Latin America 2 hours ago. You really have been blessed. God really chose you. He really was extremely kind to you. He decided to put absolutely no natural resources in your land. Which has induced Israel leaderships and Jews around the world about investing in the minds of you people. And I say investing in the minds of our people. Healthcare and educational quality. Technology to decompose the scarcity of water that you generated. You have created a generation of young kids who are millionaires now because they produce chips to the computer. And you don't depend from exogenous factors to survive economically. You are blessed by not having gold, silver, copper, oil, gas, although I understand you have discovered some gas. You are not a vulnerable economy as we are in Latin America because we have too much natural resources and the prices of the commodities in the international market are very high. So leaders and presidents are very complacent by having money that generates from an external factor. You guys are more free. You enjoy more freedom. I know that you complain a lot. But let me tell you, you have more freedom. You have invested in the minds of your people. And no matter where you people go in a diaspora, nobody can confiscate the knowledge that you are carrying with you. You can go to China and be an extraordinary medical doctor. You can go to Paraguay, to Argentina, India. Nobody can nationalize, confiscate that resources unless they kill you. This is a note of hope. But more than that, a note of deep admiration from the bottom of my heart to the Jewish people. I'm not a Jew. So I'm not part of the chosen people. I'm a survivor, like you. I have survived extreme poverty where I was born. I survived migrating to other countries where I knew nothing, no language, no money, no food. I survived a Jewish mother-in-law. But I'm not the chosen people. So I envy you. Just to tell you, don't complain too much. Because you are the chosen ones. I hope that the world will learn the lesson that Israel is transmitted to other places. This example is incredible. Every time I come to Israel, I go so fascinated. I go always visit my friend, the President Shimon Peres, to give him a big hug and with a hope to trying to be contaminated by a little bit of his wisdom. This is a country that has no water. It has a small territory, surrounded by enemies, and yet are more independent than most countries who have a lot of oil in the world. I hope Israel will contribute to the industrialized nations to develop an alternative sources of energy. To develop an alternative to oil. So those guys from Iran to Venezuela, they will have to drink their oil. Because we will not need them. We will not need them. This part of the world is living a very special moment. An Islamic spring that enable us to contrast the strength of the democracy of Israel, the values that you have inculcated within and outside Israel, the values about which President Shimon Peres was talking about. Now you can look around your neighbors, and of course they will say that all their faults, all the disgrace that they have is the fault of Israel. And if not, they say, this is the fault of the United States. When ideology, when fundamentalist comes into play, it prevents from looking beyond tomorrow. It prevents for the economists to grow and to distribute and to have inclusive social policies. Inclusive social policies. When you have ideological fundamentalism, when you poison the minds and the hearts of children early, as soon as they were born, you are not doing any service to peace and to progress in the world. With sadness, I have seen how some people that surround Israel poison the minds and the souls of children against Israel. Because of that, or part of that, Jose Maria Aznar and I have decided to create the non-Jews Friends of Israel. I know I'm not the chosen one, but I'm a friend of yours. I want to conclude with two modest, and please do understand that it's very modest and it comes from the bottom of my heart. As a president of Peru, we have done a lot of things with Israel. I cannot repeat this in public, but we have done, don't worry, all of them were kosher things. At the United Nations, in Geneva, a lot of things. Let me humbly suggest two things that I have shared with my friends from Latin America 2 hours ago. Number one, buy one airplane less and invest more money in trying to persuade the world the greatness of this country and of its people. You have to communicate to the world. It's not enough that you are great. It's not bad to tell the world how great you are. I see a little bit of lack of telling the world that here you're living in an island with democratic values that are close to the West, in democracy, with a flourishing economy, independently of the day-to-day politics. The Israeli economy has not been hit so much by the world crisis of 2008, 2009. Tell the world that. Secondly, just as much Mr. Dunker is doing for other people, entrepreneurs, please invest. And you can do it through different organizations. One of them is the Paris Center for Peace. Invest money in educating kids in your neighborhood, your surrounding countries, in order to prevent that their parents poisons their minds, their hearts. To see people playing basketball or tennis together from both parts, Palestine and the United States, it's a very hopeful path if we get it right from the beginning, before they get poisoned. My friends, May the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and Jacob watch over all of us. And time will come where we can cheer and say, L'chaim, to peace.